Hello everyone, this is Jag. In this video, I'm going to share how you can save vegetable seeds from 25 plus different vegetables. Now, this is a grand video that I've been planning to make for the last 2 years to gather all of this footage to bring you this video. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Let's start with okra. Okra is one of my favorite vegetable seeds to save because it's really easy to save seeds from okra. Just let a couple of okra ripen up on the plant. Once they become woody and yellow and hard to touch, the seeds are ready. You can just snip off okra just from the plant, and let me show you how the seeds look inside. You can just split up okra and you can see all the black seeds inside. And these seeds are really easy to harvest and store. I usually just harvest all of these seeds and then I just put them in a Ziploc bag for next year planting. You can also store the whole dried up okra as well and then harvest the seeds as you need them. One good thing about okra seeds is that they do not go bad very quickly. I've used okra seeds that were 3 to 4 years old and they grew just fine. Next up, peppers. Now you can save seeds from hot peppers and sweet peppers. You can save seeds from all different kinds of peppers. Just let a couple of peppers dry up right on the plant. When the peppers turn red, they are ready to be harvested to extract the seeds from the peppers. You can extract all of these seeds from all sorts of different kinds of peppers and then save these seeds to grow next year. I keep harvesting green chilies all season long, and at the end of the season, I let few turn red on the plants. I then harvest the red peppers and let them dry for about a week or two. I then crack them open and extract the seeds from the peppers. Pepper seeds come out very clean and they're very easy to harvest and store. Who else feels like having potato chips after watching these? Next up, cucumbers. Now I have a cucumber that's still a little bit green that I left on the vine. And look at this one. This one is completely yellow. This one is ready to harvest to save seeds from this cucumber.
So here are the seeds. These are the seeds that you can extract from the cucumber. Look at these, lots of seeds that are coming out of the pulp of this cucumber. So I'm just separating all of these seeds from this cucumber gel, and then I'm going to just dry them up and use them next year.
Next up, green beans. It is also very easy to save seeds from green beans. Just let some of the green beans dry up on the plant at the end of the season. These dried up green beans are light brown in color and crisp to touch. You can store the seeds of green beans in the bean pods just like these. Or you can crack open the pods and save the actual seeds from the inside. The green bean seeds should be hard like a rock. Store these seeds in a cool, dry place and these seeds will last up to 2 to 3 years. I've planted some green bean seeds after 4 years of storage and they still sprouted. Next, peas. Let the pea pod become mature on the plant. Let the pod mature enough to have some white specks on the skin. This means the pod is ripe and ready for harvest. After harvesting the pea pods, let them dry in a cool, dry place. The process will take about 2 weeks for the pods to become fully dry. Once the pods are properly dried, open up the pods and you will see dried up peas inside. These dried up peas are the pea seeds that you can use to plant next year. These seeds usually last about a year as well.
Next up, eggplants. Now I use black beauty eggplants and also long eggplants. I grow them every year and I just let a couple of eggplants dry up on the plant and they turn this brown patina. Once they are brown and harder to touch, you can harvest these eggplants and then cut them open, harvest the seeds, dry the seeds up and save them for next year.
So let's cut this open. There you go. Look at all those seeds inside. Now these are the seeds that I'm talking about that you can harvest and plant season after season as well. And they're pretty easy to harvest. All you gotta do is just pull them out and dry them. Now eggplant has seeds all along its length here at the bottom. So I'm just gonna scrounge it and reveal more eggplant seeds right there. So check it out. Lots of eggplant seed, the bountiful right here. So I'm just going to squeeze them out like that, and then I'll just dry them and use them next season. So here the eggplant seeds all dried up and saved to be planted next year.
Next up, basil. You can enjoy basil all summer long, and at the end of summer, just let basil bolt into flowers. All of these flowers will turn into stalks of seeds. Let the seeds dry up on basil, and then you can just harvest the seeds all along the stalk from these basil plants. You can crush up these stalks to extract the seeds and save the seeds, or you can save the stalks themselves. And then in spring, you can crush up these stalks right into your garden and start new basil plants. Next up, leafy greens. Now I'm going to bunch up all of these leafy greens into one group, which contains Swiss chard, kale, mustard, spinach, lettuce, and arugula. So what I have here is Swiss chard that we grew this summer. We grew up in our shade garden, and I have a separate video about 15 vegetables you can grow in shade. And we grew this Swiss chard in shade, and in fall we already have seeds from it, which we are going to plant now again to have more Swiss chard. So once the leafy greens bolt, they produce flowers, and then they start to set us seeds like these. There are some green seeds on there which are not ready, but there's some dried up seeds which are ready. So you can just harvest these seeds and start planting right away. Look at all of these Swiss chard seeds that I just harvested, and they're ready to go. I also let my couple of romaine lettuce plants to bolt, and they produce nice set of flowers, and they have set seeds. And these seeds are very little, and these are actually a lot of seeds on just one plant. You can harvest enough seeds from these leafy green just from one plant to supply seeds to 10 to 20 different families. So let's harvest these seeds from the romaine lettuce. I'm just going to rub these dried up flowers and check it out. Look at all of these beautiful lettuce seeds. There are lots of seeds just from little cluster, and you can just save these seeds from your leafy greens, including different kinds of lettuce, and you don't have to buy these seeds from the store. So all you need is just one plant to bolt, and you can save seeds from your leafy greens. Now mustard creates these beautiful yellow flowers, and bees absolutely love these flowers. Once these flowers turn into seed, mustard produces these pods and stores the seeds inside these pods. You just let the pods dry up and then harvest the pods, break them open, and then save the seeds from these pods.
The process is the same for all leafy greens, and these leafy greens put up a beautiful flower display such as this arugula. So not only you actually get to have the seeds, you also help the bees to collect nectar and pollen, and also have a beautiful display in your garden.
Now next up, corn. Now I planted a full row of popcorn here, and I let all the corn dry on the plant. So all the kernels dried on the cob. So let's open you up and check out all these kernels on these cobs, which you can save and plant next year. Here you go. You can just open up this corn and then harvest all of these kernels to plant next year. This popcorn is ready for eating, or you can use these seeds to plant next year.
Broccoli is a cool season crop. You can grow broccoli in fall or spring. It is a must to have broccoli in your garden. To save seeds from broccoli, you must plant broccoli in spring. As soon as the temperature rises above 85 degrees Fahrenheit, broccoli starts to bolt and starts to produce beautiful flowers. I always let few of my broccoli plants bolt and go to flowers and then to seed. These flowers make a beautiful display in the garden. These flowers also provide pollen and nectar for the bees as well. Bees love these flowers. Watching how beautiful the display of broccoli flowers is, you can also plant broccoli as an ornamental plant in your garden or your front yard. Few weeks after producing flowers, broccoli flowers will start turning into pods to make the seeds. You can let these pods dry out on the plants and then save these pods to extract the seeds to plant next year. Next, you can save seeds from root vegetables as well. These vegetables are carrots, radish, beets, and turnips. These vegetables are also cool season vegetables and start to produce flowers when the temperature rises in the spring. You can do succession planting and keep enjoying these radishes, carrots, beets, and turnips all season long throughout fall and spring. You can even eat the leaves of carrots and beets as well. As temperature rises in the spring, these vegetables will produce flowers and then seed pods. These seed pods are ready when they are dry and crisp.
I let the seeds dry right on the plant and then I harvest the whole plant. If you have a bird problem, if you have a lot of birds in your backyard, you want to put some netting on these plants so that the birds don't get the seeds. And once you harvest the whole plant, let me show you how you harvest the seeds from these pods.
Separate the seed pods from the stems of the plant and then break open the pods in a tray. Within these pods are these tiny little seeds. Mash up all the seed pods in a tray. Don't worry about breaking any of the seeds because they're really hard. You'll then be left with all the husk and sticks along with the seeds. You can then separate out the seeds and keep them from next year. You can also just save the entire dried up seed pod as well and then break open the seed to reveal all the seeds when you're ready to plant. You can keep these seeds in a cool, dry place for up to 1 year.
Next up, tomatoes. And there are 2 ways you can save seeds from your tomato plants, and they're really easy. All you have to do is careful of cross-pollination because tomatoes can cross-pollinate with each other and resulting tomato will not be the same. So if you are really serious about saving seeds from your tomato plants, you have to cover the flowers in some sort of a netting to prevent cross-pollination. And you can just shake up the flower to release pollen and that flower will turn into a tomato. And then you can use that tomato to save the seeds. So let me show you 2 ways you can save seeds from tomatoes. Now the first way to save seeds from tomatoes is very easy. You just let one of the tomatoes just dry up on the tomato vine. And once it dries up, the crust is a little flaky, you can harvest this tomato that's dried up and you can see all the tomato seeds inside. So let me get some on my hand. As you can see, you don't have to do any additional work. These seeds are already dried up, ready to be stored for next year planting. Now, second way to harvest seeds from the tomato is to harvest a ripe tomato. When a tomato has a little bit give, the skin has a little bit give and it feels soft to touch, you can harvest a tomato and then save seeds from them. Basically, cut that tomato in half and scrape off all the seeds from the inside. Now these seeds will have tomato juices, kind of like gelatin around them. So you have to strain these seeds under water in a strainer and scrub off any gelatin that's surrounding the seeds. And then dump the seeds onto a paper towel to dry. Let the seeds dry for about 2 to 3 days. Once they are dried, you can actually store them for next year planting. Next up, squash. I just let few of my squashes go to seed, just leaving them on the vine. When the vine dries up, they become really hard. Look at that, they're like a brick. Different kinds of squash and pumpkins can cross-pollinate with each other. So if you want to save seeds that are true to its variety, you have to protect the flowers from getting cross-pollinated. Now squash and pumpkins have male and female flowers. And let me show you how you can protect these flowers from getting cross-pollinated. Here's some flowers. So this is a male flower. It has a very spindly stem. So very thin stem that makes a male flower. And now this is a female flower. It already has a little bit of squash growing right there. So a thicker stem means a female flower and a thinner stem means a male flower. So let me use this net. I'm going to cover these female flowers with this net and I'm going to put a tie around it so no insects can get to it. So here's a male flower and this is the inside of the male flower. This is the stamen that contains the pollen. So use a Q-tip to get some of the pollen onto your Q-tip. Remove the netting and the female flower is just about to open up. And here's the female flower. So rub the pollen from the male flower onto the female flower, from stamen to stigma. You do not have to protect the male flowers because they will not turn into zucchini or squash. Their sole purpose is to pollinate the female flowers. Only the female flowers will turn into zucchini and squash. Now you can let a couple of zucchinis become bigger on your plant and then dry up on the plant. Let me show you a couple of these zucchinis that I let dried up on the plant. Oh, check out the size of this one. This one weighs like 10 pounds and this is packed with all the seeds that I need probably for the next few years. So let's open this up and show you how many seeds are in this. There you go. So here's a zucchini opened up and look at all of these seeds. All right, I'm going to scrape the other half and see how many seeds are in here too.
And there you go. Look at all of these seeds. So you can pick them up, dry them on a piece of paper towel, store them for next year, and you'll have a lot more zucchini plants. You can save seeds from all different kinds of squash. Now I have a butternut squash right here. Look at this really nice butternut squash. You can actually eat the squash and also harvest the seeds from it.
Squash seeds are pretty big, which makes them really easy to harvest. Once the seeds are dry, you can store the seeds in a cool, dark environment for up to 3 years.
Next, pumpkins, and you can save seeds from all different kinds of pumpkins. Let me show you some sugar pipe pumpkins that I'm growing, and I'm going to save seeds from these. So here's a sugar pipe pumpkin that I'm growing. It still has a little bit of this green patina, so it's turning orange. So I'm going to let this grow a little bit longer. So here's a sugar pipe pumpkin that's ready to harvest. It has all this orange patina and it's hard and it's ready to harvest.
Cut the pumpkin open and you can use the pumpkin to make pumpkin pie or pumpkin soup. Pumpkin seeds are really easy to harvest. Just dry these seeds and save to plant for next year. Next up, gourds. I like to grow bitter gourd. Let the gourds become ripe and turn yellow on the vine. Harvest the gourd and let the gourd dry up for a couple of weeks. After the gourd dries up, crack open the gourd to extract the seeds. Gourd seeds are pretty big, which makes them very easy to extract and very easy to store as well. Each gourd contains at least 6 to 10 seeds. Since we let the gourd dry up, the seeds already come dried out of the gourd. These seeds are ready for storage. Store these seeds in a cool, dry place and they are good for up to a year. Next up, potatoes. After the potato plants become half dried, potatoes are ready for harvest. Harvest the potatoes. The process is same for all different kinds of potatoes. After harvesting, do not wash the potatoes. If you want the potatoes to last a long time, store them in some sand. When you're ready to plant, bring the potatoes out and in about 2 to 3 weeks, these potatoes will start to develop eyes. You can use these potatoes with eyes as seed potatoes to start a new crop of potatoes. Next up, sweet potatoes. At the end of the season, harvest the sweet potatoes. Store the sweet potatoes in a cool, dry place. When you're ready to start new crop of sweet potatoes, submerge the sweet potatoes halfway in water. And these sweet potatoes will start to grow slips. I have a complete video on how to grow sweet potato slips if you want to check it out. After about 3 weeks, these sweet potatoes will develop nice roots and really healthy slips. You can then extract these individual sweet potato slips and plant them in the ground to start a new crop of sweet potatoes. Next up, garlic. When garlic plants start to turn yellow and start to dry up, garlic is ready for harvest. Harvest the garlic bulbs and make sure it does not have any pest or animal damage. Let the garlic bulbs dry with the stem for 2 to 3 weeks. You can store properly cured garlic for up to 6 months, which is enough time for next season planting. When ready to plant, break the garlic bulb apart into cloves. Choose healthy and fat garlic clove for next season's planting. Plant the garlic flat end down and pointy end up. This way you can start next crop of garlic from the harvest of previous season. Next up, ginger. Harvest the ginger root. This is young ginger. To save ginger for next year planting, harvest ginger when it's mature like this. You can then break apart a piece of ginger from previous season's harvest to start another crop of ginger.
I really hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in another video.